And hello, hello, hello! This is the scenery that I picked for today's live stream. And this is yours truly, Mary Jane. Hello everyone, how are you? Where are you connected from? Let me know in the chat. And how is summer? How does summer look like where you're living? David DB, hey David, one of my most affectionate patrons, the first one to comment today in this live stream. Greetings from a foggy morning in Port Townsend. This is Washington State, United States. So that's how summer looks like for you, I guess, a foggy morning, very different from this. Right now here I am in northeast of Italy in my home region, Friuli. I'm actually in my hometown right now, I mean nearby my hometown, so this feels very, I don't know, very familiar scenery for me. If you were wondering where I come from, if you were wondering where I grew up after moving so far away to New York City, to Manhattan, this is it. This is where I grew up. Ooh, I see many other people in the chat already. Don Vito, hello. Ralph M, good afternoon, Ralph. It's great to have you back. Hope you had a wonderful vacation. Thank you, Ralph. Yes, I actually just came back from a 2-week family vacation. In case you didn't know, my patrons are always updated about what I'm up to. So Ralph knew already. And yeah, I came back just yesterday. That's why today I decided to make this live stream to sort of reconnect with you. And I'm gonna give you the possibility in this live stream to ask me any question. Feel free to ask any personal question. I will not feel obligated to answer them all. So don't be afraid to ask, okay? I'm always very open to any sort of discussion or yeah, you know about that if you've followed my live streams before. James, hello. From central Pennsylvania, United States also. Urbanist is here. Hello, Ariel. Urbanist is, for who doesn't know Urbanist already, is a YouTube channel. It's my friend and colleague Ariel who runs it, and he is the master of live streams around cities of the entire world. I think he's in France right now on the French Alps. I saw one of his live streams just yesterday. So hello there, nice to see you here. Paul from Firenze. Paul, are you traveling to Firenze or you moved there? I remember you come from a different country. Am I right or am I confused? Ralph says it's dry in the northeast of USA. It's very dry in the northeast of Italy too, as you can see behind my back. This is a cornfield. There are quite a few around this area, and corn is just a disaster this year. I don't know if you've read in the news or if your country talked about it at all, but Italy has been suffering a historical drought this summer. We have never seen in our lives anything like this before, and the whole agriculture is just a complete disaster. But let's not talk about negative things right from the start. Let me keep reading some of your comments and then I will start walking a little bit to show you around. Hello, Jürgen from Hamburg, Germany. Johannes, hello. Nice to see you here. Finally a bit cooler in Firenze. I'm glad to hear. Firenze is a city in central Italy that gets very hot in the summer. Claudio, hi from Napoli, which is very hot, he tells me. George, hi, how are you? Charles, Querti, hallo zusammen from Germany. Thank you, someone wrote you were missed. I'm glad to hear. Dindin68, Thank you for letting me know that I've been missed. I will be back with new videos very soon. I'm actually currently working these days. I mean, I started yesterday. I told you I came back from vacation yesterday. I'm working on my other Iceland video. This one is gonna be about life in Iceland told by locals, so by Icelandic people. So it's gonna be a very interesting one. Do you have a boyfriend? I have a husband, so I don't have a boyfriend anymore. Paul says, or Paul, let me know how it's pronounced. The cornfields remind me of my home in Wisconsin, USA. You know, actually, I was thinking about the same today. I don't know if it's because they are very dry, but this year these cornfields with the blue skies remind me of some pictures of the Midwest, I think, or central area of the United States with these big, or better, huge cornfields. We don't have so much corn, I promise, here in Friuli, but yes, it reminds me of that as well. Marco, hello, another one of my dear patrons. Greetings from the north of Germany. Ready to follow this already amazing live. Thank you. Perfect weather here, sunny and 24 degrees Celsius, which is about probably 72 Fahrenheit. So, wow, north of Germany. Yeah, that's the place to be in the summer if you suffer the heat a lot. Okay, I guess I will start walking a little bit. There's not gonna be so much to see since I don't know if Ariel from Urbanist is still connected, but I was watching his live stream yesterday from the French Alps, and he was showing so many majestic things and wonderful views. I don't have so much to offer you. I prefer to keep it simpler. I like to show you the place where I come from. These are the fields where I grew up, where I used to come every time I needed some quiet space to clear my mind. I remember, especially as a teenager, I used to come here to these sort of areas, just ride my bicycle and bring a blanket to lay down on the grass. And, you know, as a kid, I would come with my parents maybe to do a bike ride. And then in my 20s, I moved away from here. And now that I'm 30, I'm living in the middle of New York City. So you can understand that the environment where I live changed quite a bit throughout my life. And I actually encourage everyone to try out different environments, especially if you're not happy with the one that you're living in right now. I see Auke, another one of my dearest patrons, is online. Hi Auke, you deserve a special hi, just like everyone else from Patreon. And in the meantime, I read Urbanist, Ariel, commented, Saurist is nearby. He's right. So Saurist, if you want to Google it on Google Maps, Saurist is this super tiny town on the mountains. It's actually somewhere there behind these trees on the mountains of Friuli, my region. And we went together last summer. So Ariel was a guest at my home. He's been staying at my parents' home, the house where I grew up, and we shot some live streams together on his channel. So if you're interested in that, just type Saurist on his channel and you're gonna find the live stream that we did together. The reason why I'm going down again is because I forgot to drink some water and I left my backpack in the middle of that corn. Yes, I did. I don't have much valuable stuff in there, and also, as you can see, there is nobody around anyways. But with this sun, it's better that I drink some water to keep hydrated before I take a little walk around here. Excuse me for that. Now I'm gonna show you where I put the bicycle. It's not so evident, right? Actually, you know, lately me and my siblings have been warning my dad a little bit, because my dad grew up in this town, and you know, he was born in 1950, and at the time everybody knew each other, and you know, the house door was left always open and stuff like that. But in the last couple of years in this town, things have changed quite a bit for the worse, which is a bit sad to say, but just being realistic. So for the first time, we have to be careful to keep our stuff close by, because there has been quite a few thefts. But I think this is happening in many areas of the world. I think the world is just going through a critical time. I think humanity in general is going through a critical time in history. And the growth of number of thefts, I think, is just one of the many symptoms of that. All right. Okay, I see. So in the description of the live stream, you can see a comment that I wrote about how to get your question read by me. So please go in the description and read it. I see one question here, which I'm going to read right away, from Marco Cassetti. Difficult question. How do you balance your environmental consciousness with the emissions of all the flights you take for your travels? This is such an amazing question, and I'm so glad you asked. Very glad. How do you balance was the question. You know, balance is relative at this point to what your sensation is about your how do you say, carbon footprint, I guess. So for example, for me, or better, let's say for certain, for example, I see certain people online that say, oh, I'm using this eco-friendly detergent at home, and they feel very balanced because they use the eco-friendly detergent, but then they own this huge car that they really don't fill up, so they don't need to use a huge car, and they, I don't know, buy constantly new clothes from maybe fast fashion and stuff like that, and they feel balanced. I feel sort of balanced right now with all the travels that I do by plane, because this is the best thing I can do right now. So to give you a little bit of personal context about my environmental footprint, I think I have one of the smallest footprints that all the people I know personally. So we're not talking, of course, about people in other areas of the world or in third world countries. Of course, I live, you know, in a first world countries. So of course, my environmental footprint is huge simply because I live here. But talking about, you know, the environment I live in, I have a very small environmental footprint, meaning I almost never buy clothes. When I buy them used, and that happens maybe 2 times a year. And when I buy, it's not huge hauls, you know, it's just maybe this top that I just bought and these pants that I just bought. These are new things that I just bought in Turkey during my trip from these pants were made by a local tailor that owns his own shop This top was not handmade, but it's still, I bought it to support a local shop run by a young person. And these are probably the only clothes that I'm gonna buy until, I would say, February. Maybe in the winter I might buy one item, otherwise it's gonna be next summer. So clothing is usually the biggest environmental footprint that people from Western world have, in my opinion. Then there is transportation. I rarely use the car. When I do, it's in company with other people. If I am going somewhere by myself, I 95% of the time take the bicycle. And then water consumption, I don't take showers every day anymore unless I do sports. In the winter, I can take even one shower every, I don't know, 5 days, 4 or 5 days. That's a bit a lot. No, yeah, 4 or 5 days. And this summer of drought in Italy has taught me to save even more water. Then what else determines your environmental footprint? The food you buy. Okay, I try to buy as much food as possible from local producers, small farms. I could be better at that. The problem is that I don't really have a system in place because I constantly move from one country to another. But for example, whenever I'm in New York, I buy everything package free, or almost everything package free, from a small co-op shop. So these kind of things. So if I compare myself to 99% of my friends, I have the lowest environmental impact. The only exception to this is the flights. So to answer finally to your question, how do I balance my environmental consciousness with taking so many flights and intercontinental flights? Because in case you don't know, I live in New York City with my husband, and my family lives in northeast of Italy, where I am right now. To me, this is the best I can do right now. And sure, I feel quite a bit self-conscious when I take any flight, really, and whenever I don't take a direct flight, but I take a flight with layover to spend less money, significantly less money. It's still, I feel that I'm not doing the best thing that I could towards the society, towards the environment. But this is the best I can do, and I think that everyone should kind of aim to the best they can do towards the environment. It's useless to make people feel guilty for not being perfect at these kind of things. I think it's more useful to make them discover little tricks, because what I'm realizing is that many times people do certain things that harm the environment, not because they don't care, but because they don't even realize that what they're doing is harming the environment. So, and there are huge exceptions to this, of course, but I think many people are like this, and therefore I feel like sort of educating people is better than making them feel guilty or criticizing them. Oh my God, please someone stop me. I talk so much. Okay, a profile called The Environment asked me, can you speak some Turkish sentences? Ben Maria, günaydın. This is, I think, all the sentences I can say. I just said I am Maria because this is the name that I use with my Turkish family. I have multiple nicknames, by the way. Don't think that Maria is my real name, because it's not. I have many nicknames. Mary Jane is one of these. Of course, the name I have on my passport is an Italian name. It's not Mary Jane. I can say other words in Turkish, but sentences really, I don't think so. I can say teşekkürler, I can say iyi geceler, iyi akşamlar. I can say peynir, tereyağı, domates, salatalık, tuz. I'm mainly naming foods, because whenever I am in Turkey, just like whenever I am in Italy, we eat a lot, and a lot of healthy, good, delicious food. So that's what I learned the most. Paul, how about a lighter topic and discuss the nature and wildlife in this area? Good question. Actually this morning, if any of you follows me on Instagram, which I don't post a lot on my Instagram, but this morning I posted quite a few stories, so I suggest you to look at them because they were nice, in my opinion. This morning around 6:30, I was here in this same spot to check the internet connection and look for the better spot for this live stream. And I was exactly here where I'm walking right now, and here all of a sudden jumped out a roe deer, and it was super cute. It was very close to me, so I could see it very well, and he just jumped away, but I could see it, so it was nice. I feel like if you come from northeast of the United States, this is not so impressive, because now that I live in New York State, I see that deers are everywhere and they don't get scared at humans, so you can really get very close to them. But here in Friuli, it is very rare to see a deer up close, so that was really nice. This is Malai Trendy. Hi, Mary Jane. Do you think a lot of Americans have problems with our digestion because of processed food, water quality, and some overeating? Water quality, I couldn't say, because one thing I will say about water quality, based on my experience in America, which is limited to New York City. In New York City, the quality of the water is the best I have experienced in a city, and one of the best I've had overall in my life. I mean, excluding the mountains, because that's out of the competition, but really New York City water, it's just amazing. As far as it concerns to overeating, I think that's very personal. I could not generalize to all Americans, because that's just so personal. But one behaviors that I see in America and that I never see in Italy, and I dare to say in Southern European countries too, is to eat almost without being conscious that you're eating. So I see people, for example, this very popular habit of eating on the go, on the street, eating either a sandwich or chips. That is really, I think it's very unhealthy, because you don't even realize that you're eating. You're not putting the effort into the experience of eating, and therefore, maybe you've just had 500 calories of a sandwich on the go because you were hungry and you stopped by a shop and bought a sandwich. But then after 2 hours, you are home and it's dinner time, and you're just gonna eat a normal dinner without even realizing that you just had almost a full meal 2 hours before. Or I see, I don't know, in movie theaters, people just buy these huge popcorn things, or people eat so many candies in America. This is what I've observed. Of course, there are so many exceptions. Everyone does it differently, but I'm just saying that I see episodes like this in America and I don't see them in Italy, or I see them very rarely. So that could be an overeating problem. The third thing was food quality, I believe. Let me find. Processed foods. 100%. Oh my God, 100%. The processed food are just such an evil thing for our digestion system, I think, and for the health of our body in general. I mean, I'm no expert, of course, so take my words with a grain of salt. But I just think that, I don't know. I grew up eating a little bit of processed foods mostly because both my parents were professionals and they were working full time. So nobody really had time every day to cook a meal from scratch. It was mostly my mom who would cook, and sometimes she would buy those, frozen fish sticks, or, the powdered potato puree and stuff like that. But still, my diet was mostly made of fresh food or freshly cooked meals. And I see that nowadays in Italy, things are going more and more toward the direction of processed foods, which is very sad. When I moved to America a few years ago, I saw with my eyes how much processed food there is there. And I simply realized that what is happening in Italy right now is just the consequence of the fact that our culture has been getting Americanized for the past 60 years. And so now it's also coming into the food habits, it's very dangerous. It's, of all the things that we could take from America, I wish we could take some other things, some other habits, like using apps more and leveraging these amazing technologies that we have more. But the food habits in America are just, I cannot say anything good about food habits in America. I'm very sorry about this. Again, huge exceptions. There are families with the healthiest I've ever seen in America, okay? I'm not talking about everyone. I'm just talking about things I've seen in America that I could never see in Italy, or up to a few years ago. What do Italians usually eat for lunch? In Brazil, people usually have rice, beans, and meat. Good vibes. Hi, George. Thanks for the question. It's very easy to answer to this question. Italians for lunch have pasta. That's it. Again, there are many exceptions. There are families who eat something else, and maybe they have pasta only once a week. But most of the families, I think, they have pasta for lunch, and that's it. Maybe a piece of cheese after the pasta, and some salad. I personally grew up eating pasta every single day. Probably 6 lunches a week. I would have a plate of pasta with different sauces and different accompaniments. And sometimes even for dinner if there was nothing else available. Josh, do you think humans have multiple lives? It depends on how you interpret this question, I guess. Could be yes, could be no. Ray, what do you wish the world knew more about Friuli? For me, Trieste. I think you're not from this area, Ray, because if you were, you would know that Trieste is not actually in Friuli. Trieste is the capital of Friuli Venezia Giulia region. So administratively, It's the biggest city in this region, but the administrative region of Friuli Venezia Giulia does not coincide with the historical and cultural and ethnical region of Friuli. If you ask me what I would want people knew more about Friuli, probably the skills. Probably that would be the traditional skills that we have here, and because we've never been very much technologically advanced in this region, they are still present despite globalization, despite these new technologies came out. Now in these last 10 years, certain skills are disappearing quickly, just like our language is in danger of disappearing, our regional language, I mean. So I wish people around the world knew more of them. For example, okay, let me make some examples. We have one of the most traditional foods of Friuli is called brovada. Brovada is a type of fermented veggie. It's actually turnips, which have been fermenting for a few months in grapes, or better, the result of the grapes after you squeeze them to make wine. So for a few months they ferment there, and then when they are nice and fermented, we shred them and cook them a little bit with spices, and then we eat them with very fatty kind of meats in the winter. Or what else could be? Oh, for example, look, I have the corn here with the oh, Elise 52 super chat receipt. I'm sorry, I almost missed this one. Thank you very much for the super chat. I appreciate it. Oh my God, I had another super chat of $5. I'm sorry, I almost missed that one too. I guess I'm talking too much and not checking the comments enough. Thank you very much for the super chats. That's very much appreciated. I was saying, with the corn, my grandma, for example, or our grandparents, with this, where is a cob? Okay, you know that you have, let me show you. Look at this corn cob, for example. You see that it has all these leaves, right? I don't know how they are called in English. In Freeland, this is called 𝙍𝙖𝙩, and it has its own word because it used to be very important for the economy of the people of Friuli, because they used to collect these, wrap them like this, make sort of long threads with them, and then make baskets or bags or any kind of stuff just by crossing them and knotting them together. And I find that technique fascinating, and it's getting completely lost because nobody does it anymore. I actually covered up my vases, my plant vases at home with this. I wasn't knotting them, but still I was at least doing something with them. Strike the like, says Ralph. Thank you, Ralph, for reminding us. Put the like button so that if you like this live stream, so that YouTube knows that you're liking it and it suggests it to other people as well. Paul, thank you. They're called the husk of the corn knob. Husk, okay. You know what? Today, I was coming here. Okay, fun fact, on my Instagram story, just a couple of hours ago, I made a little post about my bicycle because I love it so much. I just posted a picture of my old bicycle, my trusted, almost friend, and then I took it to come here. I started pedaling and I realized that I got a hole in the tire. So I had to go back home and get another bicycle. But everything happens for a reason. And so I had to get another bicycle from my parents' garage, and I got this fancy mountain bike. And then I came here, which you see, it's all, I had to bike over this type of ground. And I think I discovered why people like mountain biking so much. It was so quick and fun to pedal all the way here. And I thought I would be late for that accident, but I wasn't. So that's it. Why was I saying this? Because during the bike ride to come here, I was just contemplating the views that this wonderful day is giving me. There are such clear skies, and here it's not very common because this region is very rainy usually and very wet, so the air is always a little bit foggy. But today it's just clear skies, and the views that you can get on the mountains from here are just astonishing. Let me show you. Let's see if I can show you something. In the meantime, I don't know if you can hear this noise. So it's usually more of a shh, but this year the cob does sort of this because it's all dry. Another uncommon thing. On this side we have soy. This is all farmers cultivate this just to give it to animals, so it's not not all that good, let's say. Let me see if I can show you a little bit of the mountains. It's definitely not the best view you can get, but because this morning I was trying the internet connection around the area, I know that if I step out of this area, that I know it's reception safe, I'm gonna lose connection. There you go. Freeland Alps. Hope you like them. Let's see another question. Sam, where are you, Mary Jane? I'm in my hometown in Friuli region, northeast of Italy. Klaus says, hi, I watched your video about hitchhiking last week. I traveled in Norway and I tried. Ha! It works perfectly. How often do you use it during your trips, and how are your advices? I am so happy to hear, Klaus, that you tried it and it worked. Klaus is referring to the hitchhiking in Iceland video that I released a couple of weeks ago. And it was my first time hitchhiking, so I don't have huge advices to give you. Although during the trip, I hitchhiked 6 times, actually 7 times. 2 of them are not on camera. I did them afterwards when I stopped filming. So I gained quite a bit of experience, I think, even just in one trip. And yeah, at the end of that video, I gave the advice to everyone who travels to safe countries to try hitchhiking, because I didn't think I would like it so much, but it's such a great way to travel slow. And my channel is also a lot about traveling slow. I'm very much against that kind of fast traveling just to take pictures in a beautiful place and then fly back home, because flying is cheap and you can do it. I mean, if you can take time off of work, you have time to really travel slow. I think it's always the best way, not only for you, but also for the local communities that you go visit, and for the environment in general. V7 Avalon, I remember you did a video here before, not in this specific spot. This is the first time I come here, but in this area, sure. Ciao Federica, ciao 𝙍𝙖𝙩𝙀, saluti da Brescia. Paul asks, other than Friuli, what are your favorite areas of Italy? Oof. That's such a question that I cannot answer. Italy has 20 regions, in case you didn't know. Friuli is just one of them. And honestly, I've traveled quite a bit in my 20s throughout Italy, and I've been to, I couldn't say how many, but most of the regions of Italy, and I don't think I could pick one, honestly. It's just, I love the mountains, and I think literally every region in Friuli has the mountains, because we just have so many mountains. We have the Alps in the north, and then throughout the whole center and south of Italy, we have the Apennine mountains, which are lower and absolutely fascinating. There are so many little towns and villages, many of which unfortunately abandoned nowadays, but I'm trusting the fact that my generation is going back to these villages and repopulating them, because we are now understanding the value of living in an environment that makes you feel worth of living there. Fabio Tabaki, saluti! Fabio Tabaki is an amazing local filmmaker. I suggest you to go take a look at his website. I think it's fabiotabaki.com or .it. I don't know. Fabio, write it down in the comments. I got to know his work this summer and I was astonished. He's definitely sort of a model for me that I want to aim to with my work. Of course, I'm very far away from that ideal, but it's, you know, it's there. I take it as an example. Mir, which region is the most like New York City with all its benefits and social problems? Maybe you're talking about the regions of Italy. It's the most like New York City. There's nothing like New York City. New York City, I think, is so unique, although I should visit more cities in the US to say that. Maybe Chicago is similar, I don't know. If I had to pick one in Italy, I mean, although it's so different, I would say just Lombardy region, because there is this big city that is Milan in the middle of it. It's like the capital of Lombardy region. Yeah, that's the only answer I could give, honestly. My moderator Ralph is doing a great job at reminding you that I have a Patreon page. If you like to stay more up to date with what I do in my professional and personal life, you can check out my Patreon page, patreon.com/𝙍𝙖𝙩. I explain what I do on Patreon. If you don't feel like subscribing right away, I explain what I do on Patreon and whether you should subscribe or not in my website. So 𝙍𝙖𝙩.com/Patreon. You find a few videos where I explain what I do there and what is the value that I give, basically. Paul is thinking about moving south and somewhere right along the sea, possibly Sicily. That would be a good choice. Bruno says Calabria. Yeah, I've been to both. Such amazing regions. I've been to Sicily multiple times, but Calabria, I've passed through to go to Sicily at least 3 times, as far as I remember. But I've only stayed in Calabria once or twice, so in total less than 2 weeks probably. And I've had such a great impression of that region. Calabria is the tip of the peninsula of Italy, in case you didn't know, and I have so many American subscribers to the channel that are originally from Calabria. So in case you're one of them, I always suggest you to go visit your home town or home place, home area, because Calabria needs you. It's a region that is struggling for many different reasons, and it's as amazing as any other place in Italy. Jorge, sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. What do you think about Brazil? There are a lot of people who like their restlessness. Oh, I've never been to Brazil, so I cannot say I know so much about it. I can tell you what I know about Brazil that is extremely big. When I was a kid, I was thinking about, you know, Copacabana Beach and Rio de Janeiro and Sao Paulo probably, and everything colorful and very green, and the carnival, for example. But then I had a roommate during university who was from Manaus, which is a big city in Brazil that is sort of at the center north of Brazil. I hope I'm not saying wrong things now. And yeah, the things she told me were so far away from the you know, stereotypical imagery that I had from Brazil. I don't know, who has been to Brazil in the chat? Let me know. I'm curious now. Fabio, when do you come in Lignano Sabbiadoro? Oh my god, I haven't been in quite a few years at this point. Fabio is mentioning one of the main beaches that we have here in Friuli on the Mediterranean Sea. Better, the Adriatic Sea, which is part of the Mediterranean Sea. And I grew up going there so many weekends during the summer. It's just 1 hour away from here, driving or by bus. And I haven't been in years, so I don't know. I hope soon. I hope to do it this summer, but it's just I have too much work to do. I'm not able to take one day to go to the beach. Don Vito says Brazil has a huge Italian population. I bet. I actually don't have any relatives in Brazil for whatever reason. I have them in Chile, in Argentina, in Canada, but not in Brazil. Mir also says there is a lot of Italians in Brazil. Yeah. Ralph says Mary Jane is a citizen of Italy and has permanent residence status in the United States. She's a graduate of the University of Padua, Italy, and has a master's degree in philosophy. Correct. So you see, these are the moments then when I'm in New York City, then I I just think about these moments, you know, when I'm stressed with all the garbage on the streets and the smells, the chaos, people everywhere. Actually, now that I think about it, Let me see if I can. This is I'm showing you a little clip that I took on my way to come here, because there were better views than this spot. That is the only spot where I found a strong enough internet connection for this live stream. Hello, Stephanie from Manhattan. Are you in Manhattan? It seems that you and your husband are often apart during your travels. How do you guys handle being apart? I mean, it's a bit hard, of course, because we miss each other a lot. We are I don't really understand those couples that need time apart. I'm not one of them. And if I decide to be together with a person, I want to be with that person physically all the time. But you know, it's my husband cannot travel all that much. He owns a restaurant and owns and runs a restaurant in New York City, so he can only take a few weeks off in a year. And I really want to travel. That's sort of what I feel inside, that I need to travel. So we deal with it. So far, I've been trying to not take more than 4 weeks away from him. That's how we are handling it so far. And we text a little bit every day, even if we are very much involved with work. We always find the time to send at least one text message. Ciao da Roma, Kurgen. Walter's appena arrivato, just arrived. Where are you? I am in Friuli region, northeast of Italy. This is nearby my hometown. Alonso Mengi asks, what was your thesis on? Love philosophy. Ah, nice. My master thesis was about how digital technologies are changing our world. It's been a dissertation about the concept of virtual. First, what virtual means, if virtual means that something is not real, and if something is not real, how is it possible that it even exists? So that was the first part of my thesis, and then the second part was more about how the virtual, so the digital technologies, are actually modifying our world and our relationship with the world. So, for example, a little bit of psychology and sociology, and you know, it was a very hard thesis because it was a sort of a pioneering topic for philosophy. Salve. Pioneering topic for philosophy. Nobody had done that before, so I had to read tons of books from other disciplines and then reformulate the thoughts into philosophical concepts. So that was it. I'm not gonna go more into that because I'm pretty sure I'm gonna bore most of the people who are listening right now. Stephanie is one of my patrons. We even met a couple of months ago for the first time in California. Stephanie lives in California, but she is apparently now in Manhattan. I wonder why. Is that just a pleasure trip? Charles asks, oh my God, where is the comment? Sorry, I missed. Since all the corn dried up, what will the animal or people eat this winter? Where does Italy import foods from? Good question. Well, I mean, luckily, we live in a connected world. Globalization is not all bad. Very often we talk about globalization in a negative way, but this is where you see this is saving, it's gonna save our lives basically. It's gonna save our animals. I guess we are simply gonna import it. I cannot tell you where we import our cereals from. I'm pretty sure many of them were imported from Ukraine, so I'm not sure what's gonna happen this winter. And food for people, honestly, this summer I've been mostly eating food from my dad's garden. Luckily, I mean, in Friuli and in most of Italy, most of the families have their own personal garden where they grow a little bit of food. Some families just have a few plants of tomatoes. Other families, like mine, because my dad is retired, have a lot of veggies, even so much that they can give to all their friends. We had a tank of water collected in the spring, so we were able to water the garden, although not so much, so we ate from that. And I bet many family did the same thing. For the winter, I honestly don't know. We'll see. Let me scroll back 1 second. Auke asks, are there still forest fires in Friuli? I'm not very much up to date with the news right now, but I don't think so. So in case you don't know, in the whole Italy this summer, we've had a major historical drought. Never seen anything like this before. And even in my region, which is the wettest and rainiest region of the entire country, we've suffered the drought a lot, as you can see. And in July, we even started to have fires on the forests all over the region, even on the mountains where the climate is a bit cooler. So it was really tragic, disastrous events. Luckily, last week, it started raining again. Yay! I mean, of course, for the agricultural season, it's too late. Everything is simply gone. But at least we started having rain again. So I don't think there are any fires at the moment. But thanks for asking. Ciao a tutti, Adam Bainbridge, welcome back. Another one of my patrons, nice to see you here. Ralph is pushing to get to 100 likes. Come on, hit that like button, people, if you haven't yet. Walter says, il tempo sembra essere sopportabile. Walter, please. This is a live stream in English. I'm not gonna translate this for now because it's too much work. Paul asked, perhaps explain about Ferragosto to some who may not know about it. That's interesting. So Ferragosto is a special day for Italians, and it's the 15th of August. Every year is the same day. And it's a religious holiday that became national holiday, which means Ferragosto, everything is closed. It's just like Christmas, for example. And actually nowadays the religious meaning of it kind of faded away. I mean, it happened the same with Christmas and Easter, I guess, but with Ferragosto it happened more significantly. There are very few people who go to Mass at Ferragosto. But mainly what people do on the 15th of August, they do barbecues, they go to the mountains, they go to the beach, they are just outdoors and out of the cities. That's why if you've ever came to visit Italy from another country in the middle of August, you have 100% seen that there were no, if you were in a city, you've seen the city got completely deserted. The years that I was living in Rome, it was so incredible to see Rome in the middle of August. There was nobody around, just if you went to the very city center nearby, all the touristy attractions, the Colosseums and stuff, there were so many tourists in line under the heat, under the sun. I don't really understand why tourists do this to themselves. Everyone goes out of the cities. And if you are on the mountains or at the beach, you see that they are particularly crowded that day of the year. This said, Ferragosto is really not just about the 15th of August, because the entire 2 central weeks of August in Italy, probably 90% of companies, offices, entities, museums, everything closes, everything shuts up, everybody is on vacation. So the worst moment to come visit Italy is in August, specifically the 2 central weeks of August, because everything is closed, the restaurants, the museums, the hotels, the nice shops, almost all people go on vacation. So don't come in the middle of August to Italy. Ciao Walter, bye bye for now. Mirmir, is there a literal meaning of the word Ferragosto? Did you hear that? A thunderstorm somewhere, although, I mean, it looks nice and clear. I don't know if there is a literal meaning, honestly. Agosto means August. That fer at the beginning, I have no idea. Marco confirms what I just said. Ferragosto is the most terrible day in Italy. The entire country literally stops and almost nothing works for 2 weeks. Yep. Stephanie is considering moving to New York for 1 or 2 years, spending time in the summer to help with decision. I was here in the winter and loved it. I didn't know about that. I thought, can I just comment on New York City in the summer for a moment? As you might have noticed from the last 2 years, I tend to avoid being in New York City in the summer. I find it quite awful. I mean, the energy of the city is great because, you know, then the sun is out, so people tend to spend more time outdoors. But the climate, oh, terrible. I don't know if it's just me. I love any other season in New York City, included winter, which can be pretty harsh, but summer is just humid and hot and awful. Okay, another water break for me. I don't know if you're hearing the thunders or not. It's just the weather has become so weird, the climate in general. Okay. Ow! I'm sitting underneath a chestnut tree with very light pants. This is the most stupid thing ever. But it's the only place with a shade. Jesus. It's... Okay, sorry, just a second. Brian, late August and September is the best weather in New York. Really? Guess different tastes. P51, who is probably from Rome, I guess, it says, June in August is the new, June in Rome is the new August. Very interesting. Best months to visit Rome, actually best month to visit Rome is October, 100%. Rome in October, oof, so amazing. You get these warm days that is just t-shirt weather, but not hot, and there are not so many tourists around, and it's already started to be fall, but you still get some bits of summer. So amazing. Only 4 more likes! Yay! 4 more likes to get to 100. Thank you to my moderators to remind of that. Marco, over the spreading chestnut tree, I sit you and you sit me. Is this a poem by someone? I didn't know. Aha, actually, we got an answer about the meaning of the word Ferragosto from Nicola. Ferie Augusti, le vacanze di Augusto, which means the vacation of Augustus, which was the emperor, who was the first one who created this celebration. So thanks for the explanation, Nicola. I appreciate it. Texas Stickler, are you going to visit Action Kid in Miami? Haven't planned on that yet. 101 likes. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Simf, Bugs Bunny is back. You like them? You know what? I'm getting beat by mosquitoes. Wait a second. I'm gonna get this spray. I have the spray for mosquitoes. Let's not suffer for no reason. Charge the phone for a moment also, until I'm sitting here. Yeah, so curious to know, in the place where you live, how are the mosquitoes? Are there so many like here? Or even more like in Scandinavia, for example, or even in Iceland where I've been, there were so many, but the Icelandic one didn't bite. So it was not bad. And how do you cope with them? Because here, the entire summer, I've been spraying myself because otherwise it's just unbearable. G-Man, wow, greetings from the Highlands of Scotland. Whoa, I've heard great things from those islands. Michael asks, what is your favorite place to go? Actually, you know, it's not because I'm here, but I think my first answer to that would be here. My favorite place to go that I can think of in any situation is here, to exactly the area I am doing this live stream today. As I started this live stream today saying, this is where I used to come all the time when I wanted, you know, to clear my mind, to have some rests. Marcello, le pannocchie! Come si dice pannocchie? Cob, corn cob si chiamano. G-Man says, we have the vicious and notorious Highland midge here in the Scottish Highlands, mostly only around lochs, which is lakes, I know that. Is it dangerous species? I wonder. We don't have dangerous species here in Friuli, but they're just annoying because they are itchy for many days. Paul, who is from Wisconsin and lives in Florence, Italy, I can tell that he's surprised by how annoying the Italian mosquitoes are. Charles says, burn incense to keep mosquitoes away. Yeah, we do. For example, if we do barbecues in the evening outside, or parties, anything outside in the evening, we burn. I mean, I don't know if you would call it incense. We have certain things that you can burn that keep them away. But if you're indoors, then it's more tricky. So we have little electric machines at my parents' home. That's what they use to keep mosquitoes away. We definitely don't switch on lights in the evening. If we need to see something in some room, we close windows, we close the door, we close everything, switch on the light, and don't open anything while the light is on. So I wonder if everyone is like that. Ralph, thanks for reminding that I have a Patreon page if you want to know more about me and keep updated with my life and with the channel 𝙍𝙖𝙩. If you want to see the behind the scenes of the channel, how I decide the videos. For example, this week I made a poll for my patrons to decide what title and thumbnail I am going to put on my next YouTube video. And for example, during my trip in Iceland, I am releasing very little of my trip in Iceland on YouTube. Almost nothing about my couchsurfing experience there and the friends that I made there. But on Patreon, I made a series of 7 or 8, I think 7 videos where I tell the story of my trip in Iceland. So if you're interested in knowing more about that, subscribe to my Patreon page. I've seen quite a few new patrons lately in the last few weeks, which I'm very happy about. Paul, citronella or citronella is what people burn in Wisconsin. We use that too, but it's not very strong. At least for Italian mosquitoes, that's not strong enough. Ralph, many Patreon members in the chat right now. I know, I am so happy to have you guys here. I'm very happy about it. Thank you to all the patrons that are in the chat right now. Mathieu asks, could you recommend some great Italian musicians or bands? That's big. Wow, huge question. Okay, some that come to my mind right now. I mean, if you like rap, I think of Frankie High Energy, which he started being active in the 90s, still active nowadays. He's a very good musician, and his lyrics are, sorry, just the wind. His lyrics are kind of political, but very subtle. sophisticated almost, but kind of lightweight at the same time. I really appreciate him, even though I don't listen to hip-hop music all that much. If you like sort of psychedelic pop, I can recommend, for example, 𝙍𝙪𝙖, P-O-I, who is a young, he's from Bologna, I think, lives in Rome right now. He's a young musician, active in the last few years. If you want a big Italian songwriter, like a classic from the past, let's say Rino Gaetano, but there are so many classics also. Tenco was also another very good young songwriter. Unfortunately, he died very young. I think he released only one album, but that was, you know, a really good album. What else do we have? If you are into rock and sort of grungy rock music, I can think of Verdena. It's the sort of the Italian grungy, stony rock band. They're very good. I like them. I listened to them for years. Other genres that you are interested to? Yeah, the music that I might recommend is not very recent. Avon Skin So Soft lotion is known to repel mosquitoes. Worth a try. It worked for me. Good to know, Stephanie. I'll keep an eye on it. Marco, one of my patrons, says Fabrizio De André should be mentioned. You are very right. Fabrizio De André is definitely, I mean, can we say that it goes in the top 5 of all Italian songwriters of all times? I think we could put him in the top 5. Mathieu, you're very welcome. It was nice to give you some recommendations. QWERTY, another one of my biggest patrons. We patrons are an open-minded community and tolerant of individual views. Very true. Whatever they may be. I feel very comfortable here. I'm very glad to hear that, QWERTY. And yeah, I think we have a very nice open-minded community. And I like that among the patrons, there are very different views on many different topics. We talk about any topics, just like in my live streams, we talk about any topics. But I like that there are different views. So sometimes we have some friction, you know. Okay, let me put down my bottle in my hidden backpack that is hanging from my hidden bicycle in the corn there. And then I will walk a little bit more. Honestly, now it's 6:20, 6:25 in Italy, PM, and the air is becoming cooler and it's starting to feel very nice. So now I can go back to the sun. Oops, wait, I'm gonna put away this. I like how the guy with the bicycle that passed by earlier checked me out, probably thinking that I'm such a weirdo for talking to a phone. Andrea Gu, ciao a tutti musicisti attuali da ascoltare. sono Vinicio Capostela e Bruno Risas. I've never been very much into Bruno Risas, but Vinicio Capostela I've listened to so much during my teenage and early 20s, so I definitely recommend Vinicio Capostela. He's sort of a Italian Tom Waits. Can we say that? I think he's very much influenced by many musicians. He's one of those artists that do so many different types of genres of music. But yeah, a lot of Tom Waits in the way he sings and the lyrics that he sings. Massimiliano Giorgio Fabris, an old acquaintance who is online. Remember Calibro 35 for the Italians band? Please listen to Calibro 35. If you are into good quality, well-played music, Calibro 35 is such a great recommendation. Thanks for mentioning it. I haven't listened to them in so long, honestly, so I kind of forgot about them. Paul, is there a symbol meaning anything on your necklace? No, actually, I wonder it myself. It's sort of a Greek face. This was a wedding present from my sister-in-law, and it's beautiful, but I don't think it has a particular meaning. Mai fatto cicloturismo? Ever done cyclotourism, which means traveling by bicycle? No, which is very weird because all my friends are such huge cyclotourists. They do all these crazy trips all around Europe. And I've never done one. And I'm very passionate about bicycles, about traveling by bicycle, but never done one. So no, only day trips. Okay, now with the sun, I cannot see the chat. EX, sembra Fagagna. That's very close, very close. I come from the hills in the area north of Udine, so Fagagna is Oh, this is not looking good. Let me show you. That's probably where the thunders came from, and the wind is becoming stronger, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm getting a bit anxious here because the other day, just what was that, 3 days ago, the first real rain of the entire summer that we've had here in Friuli after the big drought, it came with such a strong wind, and it was very dangerous to be outside. Honestly, it made so many damages, not in my area but close. So I'm thinking, I look at the sky right on top of my head. This is the sky. And on this direction it's all clear, but that's the wind coming. And I think it would be probably better if I start to go towards home, because I don't feel safe being outside with this wind right now. So I'm slowly going towards the bicycle. I hope you don't mind. The storm is coming. I don't know if it's actually coming because, you know, this entire summer we literally spent the summer thinking, okay, storm is coming, you know, when clouds collected, and then it would not even rain a little bit. We were so eager of rain, of water coming, and it never came. But I feel like from the last few days the thing changed a little bit, and even if it's not gonna rain, I don't trust this wind. So let me at least get closer to a road, because I'm really in the middle of nothing right now, because today is Sunday, so I didn't want to be around people while doing a live stream. Okay, let me put you down here. Everyone is saying it's better to come home. Marco, if you're north of Udine, you should have no problems with the weather. Yeah, I think too. I think too, Marco, actually. But the other day, it was very scary. And I would never want to be outside in that kind of weather. Since we were talking about cyclotourism, I would like to know how many of you are mountain bikers? And what do you think about mountain biking? Now I'm gonna show you what bike I had to get to replace my usual bike that had a flat tire today. I said it early in case you missed it. While I was coming here, I realized that I had a flat tire, so I had to run back home and change bicycle. Look at this. It's a real mountain bike. Ooh. Paulo Z, when do you give us a new Turkish language lesson with your husband? In case, okay, so Paulo is referring to the vlog that I made exactly 1 year ago about the Turkish words that I learned in Turkey last summer. And it was a video I made with my husband, just a funny one. When I'm gonna learn a little bit more Turkish, I would say, because I feel like this year it was not enough learning. So yeah, every time I go to Turkey and I try to communicate with gestures to my parents-in-law, you call them, I feel like I need to learn more Turkish, but it's such a hard language. So Chiara, here in Novi Ligure, Piedmont, the corn is completely dry. You can see we are on the same boat. Chiara, come on, we are in this together. Paul writes about bike theft being a major problem in Florence, and I should add, bike theft is a major problem everywhere in Italy, I think, especially in bigger cities, because Italians use bicycles a lot. So because there is a lot of bicycles, there are a lot of people who steal them and resell them. Unfortunately, it's easier to resell stolen bicycles than to resell stolen cars, I guess. So there is such a huge black market for bicycles. I remember, so the bike, wait, let me show you. Let's see if I can show you the picture that I took earlier this morning of my bicycle. This is, I mean, it's from very far away, but you can tell that it's a very old bicycle. This one was the one that I used to use during my university years in the city of Padua. where there is one of the biggest, probably, black markets of bicycles of the entire Italy, shall I say, because there are so many students and everybody bikes. So yeah, if you come to Italy, you plan on using a bicycle, be aware of the fact that you need multiple locks, and you should not use a fancy bicycle, or at least if you use it, don't lock it outside. Not even if you wanna go grab a coffee quickly in the bar. You need to lock it with at least 2 or 3 locks, and never leave it on the street overnight. It's just gonna get stolen 100%. These views. With that face, why you do not sponsor products? With that face? What do you mean with that face? I do not sponsor products because of my ethics, I shall say, because of the philosophy that I decided to have when running this channel. Yeah, I mean, everybody decides whatever they want to do. Being a YouTuber, it's a new job, so it's hard to understand what are the rules, because there are not so many rules. But for myself, I don't feel comfortable sponsoring products unless I truly believe in them so much, and I haven't been able to find a company that convinces me enough and that wants to collaborate with me. So yeah, that's the reason why. I mean, I feel like I built a certain trust to my audience on YouTube, and I don't want to suggest a product where the main reason is because they are giving me money to do so. I want the main reason to be that I truly believe that that product makes the world better somehow. And I mean, I get so many companies of outdoor clothing or natural skincare products, or wow. Okay, little break. Look at these soy plants. I don't know, maybe it doesn't look like anything special to you, but the colors. And actually you can see that the tips are a bit yellow because of the drought, so that it contrasts even more with the dark blue-gray sky right now. And the mountains there. So sorry to leave this place. Okay, sorry for the break. I've been reading some of your comments. Let's go forward. So was I clear about the fact that I don't sponsor products? It's not that I'm against sponsored content in general, absolutely not. I'm just against doing it when the main reason is that you earn money from it. And don't get me wrong, if I didn't start my Patreon page in January 2020, I would probably be earning my living by sponsoring random products right now. But because I tried to open that page when I was absolutely broke that winter, I was really scraping the bottom of my savings, and I was you know, working. I went back working as a waitress when I really didn't have time to do jobs that were not maintaining a YouTube channel, and I earned such a misery doing those kind of jobs. But then I tried to open this Patreon page, and the response has been so amazing. Immediately, I think 40 people registered, among which we have many in the chat right now. For example, Ralph has been the very first one to subscribe. Okay, I think the next day subscribed. Stephanie came a few months later, but still one of the first ones. Also Johannes a few months later. So yeah, I am very, very grateful to my patrons, because they allow me to keep making videos and doing these live streams without feeling the pressure to do sponsor content, even if I don't feel like I should sponsor any product. Okay, hope that was clear. Andrea, cosa mangi stasera, Mary? What do you eat tonight? Good question. Here it's, what time is it? It's 15 minutes to 7 o'clock in the evening, so around 8 o'clock at my home. I'm staying at my parents right now because, sorry, when I come to Italy I always stay at my parents. I still have my bedroom there. They usually eat around 8, and honestly they've been so kind that they always cook all my meals and wash the dishes. I often offer to wash the dishes. They don't even want me to do that. They tell me, go work, don't worry. So I have no idea what we're gonna eat for dinner. But a couple of days ago, I made some hummus because they didn't really know what it was. And I feel like we never eat chickpeas at my place. I mean, my family never eat chickpeas, so I offered to make hummus. So that's one thing that there's in the fridge. Hello, Raj from India. So far away from here. What would be your favorite dish in Italy and in the US? Ooh, good question. My favorite, you mean in the summer? My favorite dish might be parmigiana di melanzane, which is a dish that is made with sliced, deep fried aubergine, layered sort of in a lasagna way with tomato, basil, mozzarella, and of course Parmigiano Reggiano. And it's just such a delicious thing. But also just fresh tomatoes just picked from the plant from my father's garden. Oh, in the US it would be sushi. Okay, no, it should be something American. Actually, the product that I love the most in the US is probably squash. You guys have, at least in the northeast of the US area, so New England, New York, etc., you have the best tasting squashes I've ever tried in my entire life. Our squashes in Italy are not near as good as yours. So I love making squash with tofu and mushrooms. I bake them together with different marinades, different flavors, spices, sauces. What is very Friulan? Chiara says she has the parmigiana di melanzane right now in the oven. You're lucky, Chiara, you are very lucky. It takes quite a bit of time to prepare, so it's not something that you make every day. My mom makes a wonderful one though. She's a master at deep frying veggies, which don't have that skill. I never deep fry stuff, so. Pizza Hut is the most authentic Italian food in the US. That's not true. Go watch my Little Italy video on my YouTube channel. You'll see that I went to Little Italy in the Bronx, Arthur Avenue in New York City, which is not the most authentic Italian spot in the US, I'm sure, but it definitely has some almost authentic Italian food. Miguel, you're lucky because your parents have a garden. 100%. Oh, 100%. My father retired. He is a doctor. He retired something like 5 years ago, and he decided to pick up the job of his parents as a hobby. So my grandparents were farmers, you know, they were just living out of the food that they were growing. So yeah, we are very lucky. But we're also very lucky that that food is not the only food that we can afford. So in case of a summer like this one, you know, you can always go to the supermarket and then buy extra if you had a drought, for example. You have a beautiful video about Neapolitan pizza. No, I do not. No. It's I featured in a video about Neapolitan pizza on another channel that was 𝙍𝙪𝙡𝙯's channel. Another colleague from New York, another YouTuber who does amazing content about New York City, by the way. Since I gave the shout out to Urbanist today, I also gave a shout out to 𝙍𝙪𝙡𝙯 because I remember the first time I went to New York City, I was just watching all his videos about that. He has such great tips about off the beaten paths, spots and cheap places where to eat in New York City. These were the type of content that I love the most about his channel. And I was so honored when I actually met him in person, and we even started doing collaborations, because I started following him simply as, you know, like a viewer of his channel. Sorry, I'm tying my shoes. Paul, one thing I will not try here in Florence is the lampredotto. Why not? Yeah, I mean, if you don't try it in Florence, where are you gonna try it? I think lampredotto is from Florence, no? So that's the best spot to try it, I think. Although it might not be for everyone, because especially for Americans have such a closed mind about types of meat that you can eat, especially. I mean, when you mention that horse meat can be eaten, they think that you are a murderer or something. I mean, you eat cows all the time. What's the difference with horses? Or no? Some American in the chat, what thoughts about horse meat? Let me show you a little bit of the surroundings. They are so pretty. I bet you can see very little with the quality of the live stream, but I'm telling you, those mountains with this lighting are just so stunning. Yes, but eating the stomach of a cow is not for me. Paul, what are you talking about? We eat the stomach of the cow so often in all regions of Italy. It's one of those it's not something you eat every day, again, because the stomach of an animal requires a lot of cleaning and preparation before being eaten, but it's one of those delicacies that you have, you know, once or twice a year or 3 times a year, and they're just so amazing because they are delicacies. I think you should try it. But in a place where you know that they know what they're doing, because you know, it needs to be done properly. Does horse taste like chicken? Hell no. Oh my God. Don't even try to think that way. Horse is delicious. I'm not a big fan of chicken meat. So that's my reaction. I overreacted a little bit. Sorry about that. No, horse doesn't taste like chicken meat at all. Horse has its own taste. I could not explain it. What could I say? Someone can explain how horse meat tastes like. Maybe it reminds a little bit of the taste of metal, sort of, but in a good way, not in a bad way. Metal is disgusting. If you've ever tried whale, which if you haven't tried horse, I doubt that you have tried whale, but whale, well-cooked whale reminded me of horse meat, actually. Okay, maybe the flavor could be compared to the liver of an animal, which is actually one of my favorite parts of an animal. Okay, let's see if I can ride the bicycle and holding a gimbal. I'm doing it. I'm doing it, people. I'm for Maine lobster. David says, bake the traditional coastal New England way. Yeah, very good. I've been to New England, to the coast of, the coast of Maine. Sorry, I meant I've been to the coast of Maine. Sorry, my gimbal just stopped working for a second. Let me reactivate it. Okay, sorry for the mess. I went to coast of Maine, ate quite a bit of lobster. And it was pretty delicious. Not in all places though. And also one of those very typical New England foods is the lobster roll. For who doesn't know, roll is how Americans call a little loaf of bread, like a panino in Italian would be. And unfortunately, Americans have huge, humongous, like infinite problems with their bread. It's in the meaning that they call bread something that is really not bread. It's just a horrible product that comes out of a factory and is packed in plastic and it stays on shelves for weeks before it's consumed. It's something really horrible. I don't know who thought of calling that thing bread, because it's really not. And to make this lobster sort of sandwich, they use one of the, like this type of so-called bread. And I just don't understand why you would ruin such an expensive and delicious fish meat like that. Can someone explain me why? I was really pissed at you know, the people that serve me food in Maine because of this reason. Haha, Marco is mentioning the sopa de tripa alla trevisana. Yes, so as I mentioned, in every region, in every spot in Italy, you have a local way to eat the stomach of the cow or the stomach of another animal, and it's considered a delicacy. Ken, I've never heard of Wonder Bread, and I honestly don't want to know what it is because the name says it all. Ooh, when will you visit Hungary? I would be happy to introduce you to Lake Balaton and its surroundings. I actually love Hungary. I love that country. I've been many times to Hungary. I used to go there for gymnastic competitions when I was a kid growing up. Then I stopped doing sports, and I went there another few times for tourism. I really like it there, really like it. And last time I went there was 2019. I did couch surfing, and I became really good friends with my host there, and we kept in contact. We are kind of still in contact, but I really wish I could see him again, because we really connected really well. Really. Let's see if I can bike. If you have Instagram on your phone, I can suggest you to go check out my profile today, just to see my stories, because I did some stories today and I think they look very nice. And I actually took a video of this very road. I was biking through this road. It's probably a little bit better quality there on Instagram than on the live stream. But right now, this part of the sky is all clouded. This morning at 6:30 or 7, when I was coming back, it was so blue and beautiful. Khaled, I think he is not a follower of this channel. He asked what makes you attracted to a man, but I find this question kind of funny and interesting, and I'm gonna answer it anyways, because I actually know about it. I was thinking about it a few weeks ago, what makes me attracted to a man, and 100% it's his generosity. 32 at this point. I've had quite a few relationships, and very happily, and 100% the answer is generosity. If I see that the man is kind and generous with other people, I just feel naturally attracted to him. Whoa, look at that. Can you see that it's raining big time there? Can you hear this wind? Can you hear the corn crackling? Ooh. You are making me company in one of those moments where I bike by myself in these amazing landscapes, and I just feel, wow, my life is so wonderful. I just don't know how much I can convey of the environment through the video. Woo. I mean, these mountains